Hey everybody, Angelo here. Welcome to another amazing video about how to stop punishing yourself for being single. So let's look at the mechanics of this process of self-sabotage, self-punishment, and in many cases, self-abuse. The starting point of this process is an internal belief that we are bad, that we are broken, or that we are undeserving. And this actually could make a lot of sense when we look at the gay landscape. A lot of homophobic messages from our parents, our families, our environments, our teachers. Most gay men are subjected to so many negative messages about being gay that on an unconscious level, that we actually might be all carrying a statement that I am bad, but because nobody else is out there to punish me, I'm gonna punish myself instead. So are you noticing this? When you were a little boy, when you did something bad, let's say that you spilled coffee on your father's newspaper, then he would look at you and there would be some kind of small punishment, little punishment. And then when you did something much worse, then there was a bigger punishment. So the linkage between something bad and then the punishment was created. But today, as an adult, nobody can punish you anymore. So what we often do is we actually punish ourselves by not being willing to do the things that we know we need to be doing to solve the problem. But because on the deeper level, we have this internalized statement of I am bad, then it gives us the rationalization to continue the struggle, not to escape it. And that's how we enter into this addictive pattern of addicting ourselves to struggles that continue for years and years and years. And in relationships, this is very common. Inside, we feel that we don't deserve relationships. We feel that we are bad because everybody around us used to tell us that we are bad through homophobic messages and exposure to all these politicians and all these teachers and religious figures telling us that we are bad as gay men. So then when it comes to being our best and being courageous and stepping in to solve a conflict, what do we do instead? We say, you know what, we are bad, and this won't work, so I'm just gonna not go ahead and do anything about it. So we have a combination of this won't work anymore, or this will not work anyway, so this is the outcome of this consistent struggle. But before that, there is that lack of invitation to participation because we feel we are bad on the inside, so we don't deserve relationships. We don't deserve an amazing husband who will love us, who will love you, who will give you love and compassion and support and all those goodies. On the inside, we actually don't believe that we deserve it. We actually feel we are bad. And because we are bad, we need to slap each other. We need to punish each other. But because we don't actually slap each other physically, it's a mental punishment. It's the mental punishment by avoiding to do things that could give us that husband, by avoiding the things to learn the ways to attract him and to adjust the behavior so that he actually wants to be around us, wants to meet us. So some people say, and I see this all the time because I created a whole bunch of courses and I have a social program and I want people to learn about relationships. And I see this extraordinary refusal to learn about relationships. It's like there is some blockage for gay men to associate that once you learn something about relationships, your success is almost guaranteed. It's almost guaranteed 100% of the time. So when I studied the psychology of relationships, how to approach men, one of the most important lessons in all of relationships is how to pick the right lover for you. I mean, that is really required. When I studied that, when I learned it, when I learned compatibility, when I put my eyes on books about sexuality and I started reflecting about it, I succeeded in relationships immediately. And not because I look differently or I am some kind of special person. No, it's because I knew what to do when most people would walk away. In my relationship with Frank, I don't punish myself anymore. Whenever there's a problem, I step into it with all of my force, all of my activated pieces of my consciousness and my body, I step into the struggle. I say, what's going on here? I'm really sorry if I caused this, and let me correct it immediately, and let's figure out a solution. But see, for whatever reason, most gay men don't do that. They don't they don't do that because they don't know how to do that, but they don't connect their success with relationships with the need to learn and to become competent to understand what they're doing. And I believe that big part of that is because on the deep side, inside themselves, they feel they're bad. And so they punish themselves. They literally punish themselves by being perpetually in a struggle with relationships and not knowing what they're doing, and kind of like hoping and using very mythological perspectives about relationships, not recognizing that the gay culture right now is a very complex culture, that the heterosexual ways of creating relationships don't apply to homosexual relationships, that the ways that we have to understand sexuality, the ways that we have to understand compatibility, the extraordinary amount of acceptance and compassion that we need to put into our relationships is 10 times higher than straight people. And so we need to become competent to do that. If we don't become competent to do that, it never happens. And that's why the self-punishment is extended for some men until basically they're in their 70s, and then they lose all hope of any relationship at all for the rest of their lives. And they never have relationships. And the punishment then becomes this eternal lack of love. I mean, come on, do you want to live your life without love? Do you want to, at the end of your life, to say to yourself that, you know what, I've never loved. I've never found that lover that is amazing. I've never, studied the psychology of relationships to make love possible for me. I mean, can you imagine? With only a few months of learning, you can totally transform your relationships. But most people actually don't see the connection. And I think the reason why they don't see the connection is because they are in this cycle of self-punishment, self-abuse on many levels too. And because deeply inside we feel shame about being gay, we feel shame about our sexuality, we feel shame about even being around another man, at a coffee shop and holding hands and looking into each other's eyes and having a nice this smirk on your face. So shame is something that it's difficult to see, but the fastest way to notice how it's affecting us is by realizing that we are addicted to struggle. And for every human, when you see that there's a pattern that's replaying itself over and over and over, it's some kind of addiction. It's not normal for a normal person to be in a place of struggle for say 5 to 10 years. There's an event that happens, and the struggle that is happening to repair the event. But if it's something on an ongoing basis, the mechanics behind the scenes is much more complex. There's something else happening on a deeply psychological level. And this is why I wanted to record this video. I wanted to invite you to perhaps check in with yourself. When you say to yourself, I am punishing myself by being single, just notice how that makes you feel. And then stop punishing yourself by being single. Get whatever you need to get to learn how relationships work, and then go out there and do the things that produce them. And that's when you're gonna make relationships possible in record time, and you're gonna feel alive, you're gonna feel loved, and you're gonna look at the world in a radically different ways, because that's what relationships do. They change people. Relationships change people. They're the best medicine for all kinds of mental struggles, depression, anxieties. The best thing that you can do for yourself is to stop punishing yourself by being single and rationalizing being single, but instead make your relationships happen immediately, ASAP, as soon as possible. That's what a healthy gay guy who doesn't punish himself says to himself in the mirror when he's single. He doesn't say, okay, it will happen one day, it's okay being single. No, a healthy, amazing gay guy who's looking in the mirror before he goes to bed, he says, this week I'm gonna meet 3 people. This week I'm gonna begin my new journey of exploring dating and relationships with all of my conscious effort, all the tools I have available to me with so much desire and so much positive intention that it's gonna happen this time because I'm gonna make it happen. That's what a healthy gay guy does when he's single. Everything else is self-abuse, is self-punishment, because on the inside we feel we are bad. So I hope this helps you. And when you're ready to stop the punishment, please come to the website and start learning from the videos at my blog at paulangelo.com. Also, if you want instant introductions inside of an amazing social program called Big Gay Family, where we support family values, we have educated gay professionals that are part of it, and which gives you an extraordinarily beautiful experience of meeting men, then join us. Visit the website at biggayfamily.com. The most important thing out of this message: stop punishment, stop the addiction to struggle, transcend it, get the tools necessary to succeed, and you will have success. Thanks for watching. Until we talk in the next video, as always, my friends, go out there, think big, stay present, and always be a leader in your life today. Signing off, talk to you soon.